Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. This is a VO episode, voiceover, which means I'll be talking over the B-roll of me doing some important things that didn't fit into normal episode. Namely, 3 important battles and a couple side quests. And since I'm voicing it over, I can talk about things that happened in the future and current news going on right now, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the Mario and Nintendo world right now that we're gonna get to. But first of all, let's finish this Igloo side quest and get going over to a character side quest we had missed. If you are new here, my name is Mighty Z. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is not how normal episodes work. Normally we're talking about the game, but today we're speaking off the cuff and having some light chat about some stuff going on in the real world. Namely, Charles Martinet is basically retiring from being the voice of Mario, but also Wario and a whole bunch of other characters he did. We'll get to that in a minute. Hold on.
Reveals that it will take the skills of a long-range specialist to overcome.
Of course, that's Luigi, long-range specialist.
First to volunteer, Luigi representing. That's my boy.
So cringy.
There, you see, Mario the original. Always has his brother's back. Whoop, whoop.
Please stop talking. But very appropriately, we have a Mario Bros. Event, which is actually oddly rare. There's a lot of Mario Bros. Branding, but we rarely get Mario and Luigi doing something together. Mario Bros. Usually means Luigi's playable in this game, and nothing more than that. But that's enough of that. This battle will be going on in the background. I'll chat about that in a minute, but let's talk about the news on the table right now. Whenever big news drops, I like to look at the positives and the negatives. So let's look at the positives first. Good news. As far as I know, Charles Martinet doesn't seem to be walking away because he's forced to walk away or because of health reasons, which is great. That is the most important thing. I mean, the entire time I've known him as Mario, he's had gray hair, so he is a man of considerable age, and it is tiring even for young folk to be doing all the cons and working and all the travel and all that. So if he can just choose to walk away like I've had enough, I've done it, and I can still be part of the community, fantastic news, great to see. Also, they made him a new job. They made him the Ambassador of Mario, which I don't know what that means. It sounds like he's still gonna be at cons and events, and we'll see him every now and then, and maybe he'll cameo in like future Mario movies and stuff, you know. Good news, that means Mr. Martinet will continue to get a paycheck, which is nice, you know. I'm sure Nintendo pays better than Social Security does. Good stuff. And I guess for Nintendo's end, they keep the voice of Mario under their control as long as Mr. Martinet is walking the earth, as dark as that sounds, but it's, you know, I guess sort of win-win, so yeah, that's cool. Yeah. It's good news if you're mature about it. I mean, the only bad news is we have to face something new. If you are a early 2000s baby, 90s baby, or 80s baby, you probably had Mr. Martinet as the voice of Mario your entire Nintendo life. So this is going to be a big change. But what I want us to all do is to welcome in the new guy with open arms. Obviously, he's not Charles Martinet. He's gonna do his own thing. I don't know if he's gonna try and impersonate Charles Martinet or honestly do his own take on Mario. I actually would prefer the latter, you know, do your own thing and let's all go with it and see what you can do. This also means Wario will be changing and other characters Charles Martinet did. What I would like to see, Nintendo has enough money that you can get a dedicated voice actor for all the characters, and I hope the success of the Mario movie means that we can have voice acting in Mario and Zelda games going forward, but that's just hopeful dreaming at this point, you know. If you ever want to hear what Charles Martinet sounds like talking normally, you could A, see him on YouTube at a con or something, or B, play a game called Runner. I think in Runner 2, he's a playable character called the Narrator, and it's just him, as himself, talking normally in sort of a Mario-ish game. And they really didn't let him spread his wings and just have conversations as Mario too much. But he still got the job done, and I'm hoping in the future we let Mario talk more. They're remaking Mario RPG, and I think it would be super cool if the game were voice acted. I don't think it will be. I think that's too much work for them, but it'd be cool. It would add a lot of value to that game and make... I'm already gonna buy it, but it would make it like an absolute no-brainer buy. Yeah. But that's it. That's my 2 cents on Charles Martinet as far as I'm concerned. End of an era. The man is a hero. I hope to meet him in real life someday at an event or something. And let's give the new guy a chance. Hopefully new guys, plural, a chance. Right. Next thing I want to talk about is the game you're looking at right now. I don't know how to express it, but it's actually super duper fun to play this game. Strategy aspect is fun, and it's actually a really big departure from the first game, and I honestly think they improved a lot of things. It's really fun to play. I don't know if it looks like it's fun to play. Because I don't have any real feedback from other people playing the game, I don't know if I look skillful doing anything, or if people are watching me play this and looking like an idiot, but from my end, I'm trying to make it as entertaining as possible, and if at least, let's say, 10 of you are enjoying it, then job well done. It's a strategy game, and there's skill trees and stuff, and normally I'd like to spend time thinking about it, but just to let you guys know, trying to keep it entertaining, so I try and take less than 30 seconds with a turn whenever possible, so you will see me kind of shuffling around to keep things going as quickly as possible. So if I don't seem like I'm thinking sometimes, well, that's why. Just trying to keep it snappy, but I think it's doing okay. Having a good time. Skill trees and stuff. One thing I am really loving about this game is some of the skill tree bonuses and moves the characters get. So I don't show the skill trees too long on screen because I think that would be boring. I think some of you care about like the build of the characters I'm doing, the moves I'm choosing, the sparks I like to use and all that jazz, but I'm assuming most of you don't care unless we get a whole bunch of comments of people who want me to show like everything I do going into battle. But in the first game I buffed up their health and movement a whole lot. But in this game, they have so many cool moves and unique abilities that I actually have not increased the raw health HP of a single character in our party at all. There are too many other good moves to learn first that are just so good. For example, Luigi's line of sight ability, his steely gaze. In the skill tree, he has an ability that lets that shoot through walls, obstacles, and anything. And I can't tell you, the ability to shoot through cover and obstacles in what is essentially a military strategy game like this is absurdly broken, absurdly good, and when used in the right hands, can just dominate a battle. You're gonna see later when you get to it, but Mario has it in the skill tree that if he gets a kill with his line of sight ability, it gives him another charge of it. So, for example, if he gets rushed by Goombas, he'll take out one Goomba, and he'll get another line of sight, and take out another Goomba, and get another line of sight. So if an army of Goombas were to charge Mario, he could take them all out perceivably in one turn. It is pretty crazy. Also, these sparks. Even if you look at the sparks we have just in this part, we have HP, regen, invincibility, and by now you've seen Pyrogeddon, which I know I horribly mispronounced when I got it. It was Pyrogeddon. Yeah, it's like Armageddon, Pyrogeddon. It essentially summons meteors and just destroys the part of the map you're in, lights the enemies' butts on fire, and destroys any cover around you. It is absurdly good. And they didn't have this stuff in the first game, so playing the harder versions of battles or putting the game on a harder difficulty is something I will probably do in my free time. There is one, I think I put one harder battle later on, so you'll get to see it, but trying to keep it snappy so you can see the story and have a good time. Yep. Also, I know on these missions where our job is simply to get one of our characters to the end zone, make a touchdown, I tend to forget that and just kind of hunt down all the enemies on the map. But that's because, in my opinion, the first game was harder. I don't know if the first game was harder because it was grid-based or because, honestly, we had fewer amazing abilities, but it felt like the enemy would maliciously hunt you down and you had to barely escape. Now it feels like I could just kill everyone. Just casually walk to the end of the level as I want to. Now, it could be legacy skill from the first game coming in, but I honestly think it's all the numerous abilities and upgrades they give us that make it so helpful. Like, just invisibility, meteors, all that stuff it's pretty broken and pretty fun. Yep. Our next battle takes us over back to Beacon Beach, and it's actually really important for later. So, in Beacon Beach, there was one quest we couldn't do at the time that we can do now. So, it seems in every world there'll be these special golden warp pipes, and you have to have a certain number of sparks to go through. These are really important to go back and do because they lead to a special kind of enemy. You can see them in the background. Do you know what that is? What is it? See if you can guess there. See if you can guess before we get there. You'd guess it? Yes, it is a giant Goomba of death! Yeah, so the golden warp pipes lead to giant enemies. And when you beat a giant enemy, you get a new skill tree branch, which is super good. I'll talk about it after the battle when we get there. So, giant enemies have their own strengths and weakness. It's like fighting a Spark Hunter or any other normal boss. It has a special ability, pretty much resistant to anything, and super duper strong. Has a whole bunch of HP. It will basically act like a normal, in this case, it will act like a normal Goomba, which means it doesn't have a gun, and it will charge at you, but because it's gigantic, it can break cover, it's really scary, and it can knock you off the stage and kill you. Look at that. It's resistant to pretty much everything, it can't be dashed, it's too tall to be stumped on, and it has 90, 30 HP. As a reference frame, nothing has had that much HP yet that we fought at this part you're on right now. So that is crazy. But fortunately, it's a freaking Goomba. It's stupid, it's not that hard. As long as we stay out of its path, it'll be fine. Stay spread out and you'll be fine. The only other problem here is the Goomba has backup. A couple of these flame goobers there that'll try and light your butt on fire, but with careful planning, it's no problem. I have brought Rabbit Peach for the HP ups, and Mario and Luigi because I was feeling the Mario Bros after that last battle I did, so it'll be fine. One of the skill tree things you've seen me use a whole lot, but is the special team bounce abilities. So in Rabbid Peach's case, when she does a bounce off a team member, when she lands, she does area heal, which is super duper useful, especially if you give her multiple team jumps if it's available in your skill tree later. Good stuff. Ooh, looking at this in retrospect, I see a few things I've done wrong already, but that'll come up later. Now, I don't use Rabbid Peach a lot for a few reasons. First and foremost, I find her insanely annoying, even compared to the other rabbits. Two, she's kind of sort of easy mode to give you as much healing as is possible. You'll stay alive and you'll win, but you're not going to take enemies out as fast as you could using other DPS, damage per second, people. Even, do we have Rapid Rosalina at this part? You'll see Rapid Rosalina later, could do a whole bunch of damage, and is super good, but can be killed super easily, and, yeah. Can't heal you at all, but she can stop enemies in their tracks and do a whole bunch of damage, and is just way better to have on the party than Rabbid Peach. In general. Yep. So let's see if I can remember what's going on here. It's a pretty easy map that is kind of introducing you to the concept of giant enemies. No big deal. Just kind of keep everybody's health topped off. That's all you can do. I should not have invisibility on Mario because it's not particularly useful in this map. Kind of want to use everybody to get the Goomba to charge around, so he never quite gets to charge into anybody. He's always charging towards somebody, but never makes it there. It's all good, though. You live and you learn. Pap, pap. I like shooting the Goomba in the face. He looks like it's really painful. There we go, right through the cover. Like I said earlier, it is fantastic. Good stuff. Boop, boop. Like I said, the game is fun, but sometimes I worry that it may be boring to watch at parts, so I try and take quick, snappy turns and do things quickly. So if I make mistakes, please pardon me. But yeah, this battle pretty much goes like this. You have the Goomba, shoot him in the face, bounce him around, skip on to where we're almost done, because this is gonna take a while. Alright, so back now. So basically, I had Mario sneak by using invisibility to take out most of the gunner guys, and I had Luigi and Rabbid Peach just kind of distract the Goomba, slowly chipping away at his damage. Yeah, that's all you really have to do. There are a lot of harder enemies where their gimmick is they look at the last person who shot them and they will charge in that direction and do a whole bunch of damage, and that's pretty much their shtick. All you have to do is really keep your team spread out and take turns shooting at the enemy so that he never has enough time to get all the way to them, like there with Luigi, and you'll be fine. As long as the last one, as long as someone else shoots the Goomba, it will not run toward Luigi, which would have been logical, and instead it'll try and make it all the way to another party member and fail. That comes up a lot, and they do have things to make that strategy harder later on in the game, well, at least in the first one. And I assume they'll have little annoyances to mess with us later in this game, because it is their favorite, oh, you're fighting a boss strategy thing that they love to keep pulling out. But once you figure it out, it makes it really, really easy. Yup. Shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. One thing I thought about, I didn't like the change, but I get why they did it. In the first game, you used to get new weapons, and it was, every new weapon was better than the previous weapon, so you didn't really choose weapons for aesthetic appeal. Every new weapon was just kind of objectively better than the previous weapon, so more or less it was just paying money to forcefully level up your weapon stats. So in this game, the different types of weapons are only aesthetic, so you can choose whatever weapon you want, and they make no difference whatsoever, which I get. That's a good change. That way you can choose what weapon you want. But with the camera zoomed out, you don't really look at their weapons or care too much. It's also not a multiplayer game, to my knowledge, so you're only really seeing the weapon in cutscenes, but if you're playing the game as long as I have, you're probably skipping most of those cutscenes anyway, so not that big a deal. But it's only for in-game money anyway, so it doesn't matter. Never mattered. Yep. Alright, so you pretty much get the idea here. I'll skip on to the end of this battle so we can get a move on already. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You have 3 party members for this, so just use 1 party member, or 2 if you really need to take out the guys with guns, and use the remaining 2 party members to distract the Goomba running back and forth, chipping away at its health until it dies. And you're good. Boom, baby. There you go, Luigi. Another win. But what do we get for defeating a giant enemy? Something really special. Here we go. For defeating a giant Goomba, you get a very special rare item. A gold prism. A gold prism unlocks a new skill tree branch for one of your party members. You cannot refund this, so please choose the party member very carefully. The skill tree that is unlocked is the Unlock Spark branch. I magnified it there so you can see it a little bit better. It's dramatic. Yes, but the Spark branch is super useful. I'm never gonna get a chance to charge up the HP of my characters now, because if you have a few extra skill tree points to use, the Spark branch will actually make your Spark powers even more broken. They can cancel out the cooldown of some sparks, make the sparks' power stronger, make them easier to use, or just more efficient in general. And considering the sparks give you crazy abilities like HP regen, invisibility, meteors, attack buffs, defense buffs, they are super useful and super duper worth it. Remember, the sparks all give you passive buffs to your attack damage or your defense levels or your HP, so the fact that you have a special skill tree thing that actually works toward that is really, really good. So choose the party member you will use accordingly. I don't really think there's a wrong answer other than choosing a party member you don't use in battle, but if you have 3 favorites, maybe give them the spark ability first and get on that. And there you go. You have these abilities here, and check them out. You have Spark's Gift. At the first turn, a spark has 25% chance to gift a random item. So a spark can give you a mushroom or a power block or an item that resets your cooldown. You have Spark Refresher, which gives you a 35% chance for a spark to just not have a cooldown. You have Spark Guard, you have a 30% chance to survive a death blow, which is insane. And you have Spark Energy, which each spark has a 25% chance of giving a new action point. The action points are what you use to do actions every turn. So if you get that, you could maybe use the other spark you have, shoot your gun, or move again, or use your special ability and get another shot. These are really good abilities based on how you play the game. I don't have team wipes or die too often, so I'm not concerned about that. But that spark cooldown is amazing. We could literally shoot meteors, and then meteors again. All the meteors for everybody, and just delete enemies. It is pretty godly. So, every world has the golden pipes you will find, and it's worth doing all the battles. Obviously, the giant Goomba was the easiest of those, but knock those out, get that spark skill tree, and tear the game a new one, pretty much. Alright, on to the final battle of the show. Yep, so the fortune teller lady, I didn't have in the recording, but when you walk in, she always says, "Doom! You are doomed." Like, it's funny. It's cool, but basically she opens up a dimensional rift and gives you access to a pretty hard battle that you can do if you want the experience points and to, you know, get enjoyment. I personally find the battle system in this game fun, so I like these more challenging battles to see if I'm actually learning the strategies, and there's oh so many left to learn. For example, you can use a line of sight ability and then force an enemy to move by using a spark that pushes people away or pulls them toward you, or something that launches enemies, and that will trigger your line of sight ability and you'll use it instantly. It's pretty OP when used appropriately, and it's pretty awesome. For this battle, this is after I didn't say this before, but the other two battles were actually before we went into the Winter Palace. This battle is after the Winter Palace. So Rabbid Rosalina's in the group, which means we actually have 3 females in the group. So for the first time in this playthrough, we can have an all-female team. So we're gonna go with that. Good stuff. This battle has all the different kind of big, burly claw dudes, the tiger claws and the Ice Crusher dudes all over the place, and they're pretty cool. But we'll watch that, and also I mentioned I would talk about Nintendo stuff, Mario stuff, and my own life stuff, and I haven't talked about life yet. So here for me, coming on to the end of summertime, I'm here chilling in my apartment. I've been brewing up some plums whiskey, plum sake, umeshu, if you know what that is, drink for the past few months. What you do is you take some ume plums from Japan and you put them in a container with your alcohol of choice and let them sit for a few months while they ferment and brew up all the goodness. Then a few months later, you pop that bad boy open, get some ice in a glass, and you have yourself a refreshing summertime drink. Now, mine won't be ready till September, so it'll be a little late, but it'll still make for some nice weekends. I'll cook up some steaks, drink a little of the good stuff, and have some nice weekends. That's how Mighty Z likes to roll. Yeah, pretty much. My life is boring. Actually, no, my life is not boring. Life is pretty good right now. Having a good time. I've been devoting more time to martial arts lately. I've been trying to go walking more. I repaired my bike. That is bicycle, not motorcycle anymore. Trying to be healthy. And just been trying to get clean air and enjoy some good living. Now, one thing I wanted to mention about the elemental types. In the first Mario and Rabbids game, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, there were only like 2 status elements. There was honey, which would shoot a huge glob of honey at your feet and make it so you can't move. That's been replaced by frost in this game. And there was ink, which would cover your head in a giant black ball of ink, so you couldn't see, so you'd like miss. Honey was super broken because you just could stop enemies from moving in their tracks and do whatever you want. Sparks of Hope, on the other hand, has a whole bunch of elements. and elemental weaknesses, which is cool. All the elements have effect. Some of you aren't following the playthrough, or maybe you're new, so you don't know what elements do, so I'll explain that really quickly. So, fire will burn the enemy's butt and makes them run around. If they touch another enemy, it will burn them. If they touch you, it will burn you. So you have to be careful of that one. Ice will freeze an enemy's feet to the ground and keep them from moving. Water will put splash on an enemy, which will send them sailing. But the important thing is once that water is on them, if they're hit by any other move, they will fly away super far, which is great for sending them off cliffs, pushing them down to lower levels, or off the stage in general, which does a massive amount of damage. There is wind, which puts a tornado around the enemies and blows them in a straight line until they hit a physical object. There is shock, which electrocutes the enemy and will damage any nearby enemies. It also makes the enemies jump high in the air, which is great. So, for example, if you hit an enemy with shock and they jump up in the air, Rabbid Luigi can actually bounce his frisbee off that enemy and hit other enemies on a higher level if he's standing on a lower plane than them. So, really useful, and if you combine them with the character's unique abilities, pretty good. And lastly, did I forget anything? There's ooze, which does poison damage, and I think that does continuous damage after you've been hit by ooze for a few turns. And I don't think there's any antidote to it. I think it just wears off after a couple turns, and that's it. In the skill tree, didn't have a chance to talk about this. For Rabbid Luigi and Rabbid Rosalina, they both have the ability to frig with the enemy's stats. Rabbid Luigi can lower the enemy's attack with his little dance move, and Rabbid Rosalina can use the power of depression itself to make the enemy unable to move or attack or do anything. In the Skrill tree, we have the option to make them take more damage in this vulnerable state. So it doesn't have to be them, but if anyone hits them, like for example, this enemy to the right has that lock over his head, he's frozen. If we were to hit him, he would take extra Muku damage, and the same thing would go if he were exhausted from Rabbid Luigi. Those are really good. All that secondary damage really adds up. Also, I like to go for the abilities that do side effects if you dash them. So Rabbid Rosalina has the ability to, instead of doing her big special area depression move, whenever she dashes an enemy, that enemy will be frozen in place, and it's super good. And you can add it to the skill tree to make it last for more than one turn. I think it can go up to 3 turns of them not being able to move, which is pretty godly, actually. She doesn't take a lot of hits too well, so you have to keep her safe, but the fact that she can keep enemies frozen in place makes her a very valuable party member. Working with Peach is great because of her barriers, makes it super good. Speaking of Peach, Peach has a skill tree ability that's super cool, where if she kills... Okay, so Peach has a barrier on. We have the barrier. You can see represented around them, the floating orbs are the charges of barrier they have left before they will start taking damage again. Peach has a skill tree move that whenever she kills an enemy, if she has a barrier, she will restore one of those charges. So you can see where this is going. If she does it right, she can keep her barrier up forever and pretty much be invincible, which is extremely broken, and why this game feels so much easier than the first game. And pretty much everyone has cool skills like that. Mario and Rabbid Mario have some great attack abilities. Rabbid Mario can attack enemies and then move on his turn, so he can hit enemies that explode and then get the hell out of dodge. He has an ability where he'll take less damage in his counter state and actually restore some HP. Mario has abilities to fly around and bounce on multiple enemies' heads, to restore charges to his oversight abilities. It's It's all good stuff and very, very, very broken and enjoyable on my part. But these jump abilities, man, honestly, Peach being able to just jump on any party member and give them a quick barrier is a godsend for these battles where enemies explode and like to run up on you and punch you in the face. Super annoying. Nothing a few meteors can't handle. I love Pyrogeddon. That is easily my favorite Spark we've met so far. And I'm hoping there is a radial damage ability for all of the elements. So far we have Toxiquake, which does toxic damage in all directions. Pyrogeddon, which draws meteors in all directions. And I can think of a couple other ones that you guys haven't seen, but will make themselves known on other parts. And I hope you enjoy. Yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say in terms of just background stuff. I'll be talking about the battle and stuff for the rest of the part. But other than that, I really hope you're enjoying the playthrough. Even if you only watched 1 or 2 parts, thank you for watching.
Creep.
If you made it this far into this random conversation, thank you. Pat yourself on the back for that. I wish I could give you guys likes. Actually, that'd be cool if you could give the viewers likes, but there's so many of you that it would be mind-numbing. But I hope you're enjoying the playthrough. There's lots more games coming down the pipeline very soon. There's even more Mario games and stuff coming this year. And, you know, there's a RPG I want to do. I hope you guys really like. I still take requests. If you give me a request, it doesn't mean I'm gonna absolutely do that game, but so far, 4 of the games on this channel that have been played have been requests, and we played all those requested games all the way through to completion. So the next request, it could be you. You never know. Give it a shot. I have a suggestion. If you are playing along, play this game in the future or play the first game after seeing this game, something I suggest you do. If you don't like a character or you're not good with them or don't know how they work, keep using them until you figure it out. Use them with different combinations, and like what I like to do is like use random groups of partners that might not necessarily work together and see what you can figure out. There's a lot of stuff you'll figure out by accident. You'll learn little quirks. In this game, you'll learn how different sparks work together, how different characters' individual abilities work together as you unlock them, and there's some good stuff you can do, and it's, you know, a lot of it I initially found by accident or just in the heat of the moment, and it will make you more versatile, give you more options in different situations, and honestly, I just think it's fun to figure out different things. Many parts ago, you may have seen that there was a battle with all sniping enemies, and I went into the battle with the 3 people with the shortest range being, I think it was Rabbit Mario, Peach, and someone else. Yeah, like Rabbit Luigi or somebody. This really short range versus a team of elite snipers, and we got through that battle. Obviously, I could have just torn that battle a new one using Luigi and other characters with mid-range like Mario, but it was more fun figuring how to do it with the short range. It felt way more rewarding, and now I feel more confident using my short-range characters in various situations. And that's the fun of strategy games. If you played like any of the tactics games, Final Fantasy, any of that stuff, even Pokemon Conquest, that's the fun of this style of game, and why I try to play as many of them as I can. I'm happy to see them seeming to make more of them. They even have a Persona one with Persona Tactics coming out. It's good stuff. It's fun. And we have all kinds of Musou games, the Dynasty Warrior style games. Why not have tactics games with all the different IPs? It's fun, gets your mind working. It gives all the characters a chance to do their unique thing. You get to see interesting situations, and because you have to fight these little worlds, you get to see more what the world looks like other than just crazy Mario levels or cutscene based things and stuff like that. Going forward, you will see me focusing more on using the right elements against the right enemies and using special abilities to get more damage, because I'm enjoying trying to finish battles as quickly as humanly possible, as effectively as humanly possible, and I am assuming the game will get much harder later, as a lot of these strategy games tend to do. Look at those guys getting washed away. He's gonna explode. The exploding enemies are a very interesting challenge. Yep. So far, I'm enjoying all the different objectives that they have. We have the defeat all the enemies, we have the run to the end of the map, we have the defeat all of a special kind of enemy, but I'm hoping we get more objectives before the game is done. Toward the end of the first Mario game, Mario and Rabbids game, Kingdom Battle, there were actually escort missions. I talked about that earlier, but there were missions where there would be like a toad and you had to escort them safely to the end of the map. It was like Secret Service protecting the president sort of a deal. Those were super duper fun, and I hope they come back later. I know there are some more party members that are known, and I'm hoping, I don't want to say anyone's names, that there'll be some unsaid party members that show up, because if you get all the way to the end of Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, there was a couple more party members that showed up that I wish were there for the whole game, and there were a couple Rabbit versions of two other characters who I was hoping were going to be in this game, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be in this game. A lot of people are buying the first game for the first time, so I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, you'll see them. You'll see them toward the end of the game, but it's just like, I hope, I see your doppelgangers in the game, I hope you'd be in this game, but I guess you're not. Miyamoto really doesn't like those characters, so can't be helped. But yeah. Oh man. The dash abilities are really good for the characters who have two dashes. At a certain point, you're going to want to start giving characters multiple dashes. You're going to start giving the characters who have multiple team jumps, because multiple team jumps will let characters literally go across the entire board. Multiple dashes with these little stat debuffs you can do are like game changers. For example, Rabbit Rosalina being able to freeze enemies in place and make them extra vulnerable to damage makes it so that if she's surrounded by enemies, she can go from being able to escape effectively to being able to actually kill all of those enemies and walk away just clean and fine. Yep. Good stuff. I think the rabbits are annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, come on. I think the rabbits are annoying, but in this game, I think the rabbits are alright. I think they got too much of a bad rap, and I know this game didn't do super well. I know Ubisoft said that they wish they had waited to release this on the next Nintendo system, which none of us know about, but we all know about already. And that may have been a better play. Ubisoft, while I do like the people who made this game, Ubisoft as a company, not great. F them. Screw them. But I would like to see more games like this. But with this game not doing well, I'm afraid this might be the end of the road. Which is unfortunate, because like I said, it is really, really fun. And I hope more people get a chance to enjoy it, honestly.
Weirdo.
But yeah, there we go. This battle's pretty much it. Those are the 3 battles I wanted to show you. Showed you one battle with the Mario Bros. Just to remember Charles Martinet and think about all the great joy he's given us over the years with his portrayal of Mario, and we look forward to the new guy as always. We showed a battle against a giant enemy, the first of many. I don't know if I'll be able to fit those giant battles into the normal gameplay, so maybe I'll make special episodes and we'll talk again. Who knows what'll happen, I'll see how things fit. I like to keep things nice and tidy, and as few parts as possible, but we'll see if it's natural. Because I think when the giants are not Goombas, it'll be way harder and way longer, but we'll see. Giggity. And we had one last fortune teller battle, which was hard, but not too hard. Girl power, all the way. But I'll see you next time for a totally normal part of Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, be safe, be well, and goodbye. Good stuff. I'm gonna go drink some more plum sake. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go drink some of that and have me a chill weekend.